that's a tremendous looking trophy.
Welcome to the #1 PlayStation podcast in the Oceanias. My name is Dylan Blight, and joining me today to discuss the state of play in Australia. That's a football thing. Or, no, rugby. Something. Ashley Hobley.
Hey Dylan, excited to be here to talk about the state of VR.
Is the state of play a sport thing there as well? Like, is that not a...
I think it's just a general thing.
Okay. Because when they announced that's what it was called, I was like, surely that's like a foosball run and tackling type thing. You know? I started picturing Adam, what's his name? Waterboy is what I started picturing.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah, Adam Sandler. That's
Bobby
the one.
Boucher.
Yeah, Bobby Boucher. Yeah, that's the one. That's what I thought State of Play was about. It wasn't though. It was about games and stuff. That was a complete shock to the system. Okay, so of course this episode's a little bit late. You would have either gathered that or didn't care because you don't listen to it at 6 a.m. when it drops usually anyway. I mean, who would really? But
I'm sure there's some people.
we pushed it a little bit because Sony announced what day? Sunday night, something like that. I think Sunday morning-ish or something.
Yeah, but yeah, I think
that they were
going to
be doing this
Saturday or something.
Yeah, they were going to be doing this their first state of play, which is an event that is now basically going to be their Nintendo Directs for the rest of the year. How often, when often they do them, yet to be determined, really. I kind of thought this thing was more of a testing the waters for how often and such that they would actually do them, I guess, is kind of what it seemed to me. So we'll discuss our overall thoughts on the show itself, and then we can jump into the games and stuff that they've shown and talk about those. But what did you think of it?
I think it was pretty solid. I think it was probably missed. I think people went into this expecting some sort of AAA big announcement or big gameplay footage or something that didn't end up being there, unless you're a big Mortal Kombat fan, I guess. Then that was a big thing. But it was solid. I think they played it safe. Pretty much everything they showed was sort of in-house or PSVR or Sony exclusive-ish, I guess, which makes sense. But yeah, for a first time, it was fine. Obviously, there's been a fair bit of backlash online, or people disappointed. But yeah, I think it was what I sort of expected it to be, except maybe expecting a bigger announcement at the end. But yeah, solid. It's fine. And especially hard, like a week after a Nintendo Direct, everybody was sort of in love with that Indies showcase, I think. So, yeah.
Well, I don't really think comparing them is fair.
But
because
it's not fair, but that's what everybody's going to do.
Yeah, everyone's going to do it, of course. But if you're going to run that gauntlet, then I'd be like, yeah, of course that Indie Direct was better. They had a lot more cool stuff there. And also Nintendo has been doing it for several years at this point. And PlayStation isn't trying to hide that they're ripping off Directs, which I'm fine with. Like, there's no... Like, if you're going to obviously be inspired and do something similar to Nintendo Direct, you can either try and hide it and go as far away as you can, which is what Xbox did with Inside Xbox, where they run these very long, highly produced segment things with, people sitting in chairs and discussing. And it's more like a morning show of, hey, we're here. Good morning. Here's the weather, and let's talk about Xbox games that are coming. And it's fine sometimes, and some never anything super interesting comes out of it, but stuff does come out of them, I suppose. Whereas PlayStation's like, hey, yeah, we're pretty much stealing the entire structure, the way it looks down to the roll card of like cards of what they're announcing, and it moves along, kind of like how the Directs does theirs as well, where it'll move along this like slideshow thing of the announcements as they're happening. So everything about it looked like a Direct, which I was fine with. I didn't really have any problem. What you were saying before about people being annoyed, I just saw that Michael tweeted through a bunch of stuff to the Plaid account about his disappointment. So since I was looking at that while that popped up while you were speaking, he said, me intermittently watching State of Play PSVR games, don't care. New indie titles, looks pretty depending on premise. Release dates for game already announced. I wasn't in Mortal Kombat. More new footage of Days Gone. Blank screen, waits. Come on, show something AAA that's after Days Gone. Wait some more on his Twitter. Maybe it's voiceover for black screen. Still more black screen. Come on, surely you have something big to sell during Christmas. # disappointment. So yeah, he doesn't he doesn't sound too pleased. But I think obviously if you're going in expecting AAA to this, unfortunately he was going in with the wrong mindset for the show, because I pretty much got what I expected out of this. I expected 30 minutes. We got 20, but I'm not going to hold like that 10 minutes as my, damn you, where's my 10 more minutes of footage and stuff. But yeah, overall it was like, hey, this is a thing that we're thinking about doing. Like, how does the PlayStation Nation, or however you want to refer to it, how does the PlayStation fan base react to a show like this? And depending on where you're looking, it's either a lot of positive stuff. I've seen a lot of positive stuff on Twitter from games media people, a lot of people tweeting like, yeah, that's what I wanted. It was just games, blah, 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 blah. Sure, you could add a little bit more on the end of it, one big announcement or something like that. But a lot of people I'm seeing overall were like, yeah, for a first showing, and if that's what they want to move forward with and do more of these throughout the year, like Nintendo's that does directs, most people I'm seeing are like, yeah, okay, like solid first entry into what could be a thing here. And I'm kind of on that front as well, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't blowing my socks off, but I didn't expect it to blow my socks off. So it wasn't like I was disappointed. And for most of the stuff they showed, I was like, yeah, cool. Like none of it was like, hold on, no. There was the Freddy thing was my eye roll moment. Apart from that, everything was, oh yeah, cool. And then they showed that and I was like, ugh, fucking get out of here, Five Nights at Freddy's. And then, but the rest of it, I'm excited about, and I appreciated the amount of VR that was shown in it, because
I think that's the point where people were either liked it or didn't like it, because obviously we've got an investment in VR. A lot of people don't care and aren't interested, and for them to spend so much time focused on VR obviously rub people the wrong way, I think.
I think if they're going to move forward in the year and potentially like do a combination of these plus like a PSX conference and maybe one other random conference type thing.
Yeah.
Then at the conference type things, the bigger things they show, that's where they can focus on their AAA, just whatever games that most people are going to get excited about. I do feel like if you're going to have a place to focus on VR games, and they need a place to focus on VR games because it's one of their pillars of their system now, you know?
Yeah.
And if they need a place to support it, and they need a place to show, yeah, we do care and we know it's doing well. It had a kick-ass year last year, and we're going to continue acting like PSVR is important to the PlayStation universe. So they need a place to do it. And if there's ever a place to do it, these smaller, more like whatever we call these things, direct type stuff, state of plays, they seem like the place to do it. And then they can have their whatever conference at some point in the year and show off fucking Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2 and, you know, all this sort of stuff. I don't expect that stuff to be in these throughout the year. That's not where I'd expect them to be. Unless they're already announced and coming out soon or something. Like, say later in the year we get whatever, a press conference at some stage, wherever that may be. They show off more Ghost of Tsushima. They show off a little bit more Last of Us 2 or something. And then we progress to a point where either one of these games is only a couple months out, kind of like Days Gone is. And then in one of these, they can have, here's a little bit more gameplay. Here's another little tease for that game kind of thing. That's the only time I'd expect to see AAA first party or second party stuff show up in these. If they're like kind of on the horizon and they're doing a little bit of the hey, just a reminder, this is out soon. Here's a little bit more information.
Yeah.
Go pre-order. But other than that, PSVR stuff, smaller indie titles, smaller partnerships with other developers and stuff, much like we got in here, a bunch of these games like the space one where you are the ship.
Yeah.
They are what I expect. And so I wouldn't expect that to change. But then also, I think if you look at Directs, right? Nintendo Directs, Nintendo is at the stage now where they started out doing Directs and they were just that. They were just, hey, it's called a Nintendo Direct and they show a bunch of games, blah, 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 blah. As it progressed, we're now at the stage where if Nintendo says they're doing a Nintendo Direct, we know that means it is a multi-layered announcement of stuff, and it could be about anything really. You know, it's like the general format one. But then also they can announce, hey, we're doing a Nintendo Direct that's focused entirely on Pokemon, that's focused entirely on Fire Emblem, that's focused entirely on et cetera, Animal Crossing, whatever. Hey, we're doing an indie Direct. Today's Direct is focused entirely on indie games, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like they've kind of set up sub-categories for stuff. So, and like PlayStation announced this ahead of time. They're like, hey, state of play. Today's, the show on Tuesday morning, it's going to be about PS4, PSVR. That's the focus. The next one, when they announce it, could say it's going to be a focus on upcoming big PS4 exclusives. It's going to be an upcoming on PS4 indie partners. You know what I mean? They can. I don't really think that just because this one had a lot of VR in it means that's the golden standard for
that's what
every show has to be
going forward. Yeah, they can definitely mix it up. Obviously,
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want, but I think they need to be probably message better beforehand, or possibly like do VR only stated players, I guess.
Well, I just took this one as like this could be their general show, you know, kind of like their Nintendo Directs usually has like a mix of. If they do one that's like tomorrow's show is going to be a mixture of 3DS plus Switch games. Whenever I watch those, I'm like, oh, I fucking care about the 3DS games. Go away. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's the same sort of thing to an extent. Of course, people care though, and the 3DS is still an important pillar to the Nintendo system. So
yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Like I was trying to quickly look on my phone to see exactly how they tweeted out the announcement because I can't recall if it said in the tweet like, hey, what we're showing off is going to be focused on VR and PlayStation stuff. I know for sure it said that in the article if you looked at it, like the blog post where they announced it and the title card or whatever, but I don't know. I can't fucking see it here. Oh, here we go. Announcing state of play, tune into our first episode, blah, 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 blah. For new PS4 and PSVR software updates and announcements. It's like that. You can't really complain too much when it's it's literally right there in the tweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like today's show is going to be on PS4 and VR software announcements. It didn't say, hey, some exciting AAA exclusives, blah, 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 blah. Although the next one, as I'm saying, the next one could say PS4 indie partners. Today's show is going to focus entirely on PSVR stuff, at which point, if you don't care about PSVR, obviously you get to tune out. But I think the important thing is PlayStation has to take VR seriously, so they have to include it. And people without VR have to understand that VR is an important pillar in PlayStation now, you know? And it has to be an important pillar, and PlayStation has to treat it seriously. So, I did see someone, I think, actually, I can't even fucking who tweeted it now, I'm sorry, but someone on Twitter pointed out something that I was like, yeah, actually, you're right about that. The one kind of negative thing about it was the announcer was a little bit too, like, robotic voice type thing, you know what I mean? No personality to it all. And although
sounded like they hired Siri.
Yeah. And if you listen to last week's Arcade Couch when you and I talked about the Nintendo Direct one, we're saying how I'm like, I like the presenters, and you were like, oh, they had a few crappy jokes. I'm like, yeah, but I'm willing to pass that up for a little bit of a
personality.
You know, your personality stuff, and especially if you're going to compare these two, because obviously they happen within 7 days of one another. It's like, and I'm taking away all the announcements and stuff and solely the presenter aspect. I would rather what Nintendo has with those two presenters, or a presenter of some sort with a few crappy dad joke type things happening, but still just adds a little bit more of character and flair to it, I guess. So, and PlayStation has enough characters and personalities there that they should be able to get someone or hire someone to come in as kind of the front person for these in the future, which I suppose is something they could do, like if these state of plays become an important thing for them to continue doing, they could invest in another what the fuck is that guy's name?
You got like Sid Schumann and Ryan Clements.
No one likes Sid though, I don't think.
Well, the lady they had, I think, moved on to something else that they had as part of their social team. So,
Kevin Butler.
Kevin Butler. No, I don't think he's still part of PlayStation. Is he?
Bring him back.
All right.
How about that kid? What was that kid's name? The Vita kid. Fuck, I can't even remember now. There was a Vita kid. They brought it. They had characters back in the day. They had characters. Now we got fucking robotic Siri lady. Come on. I know Apple had an event this morning too, but Jesus Christ. You don't need to use Siri to announce the whole show. So I guess wrapping up is fine show.
Room for improvement.
Announcements we'll go over in a second. Room for improvement, but as the first stone into the puddle type thing, yes, I'm on board and I would like more of these. How often would you like to see PlayStation do this, do you reckon though?
Maybe every 2 months or so. Do you think they're going to do a big E3 one of these?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because that's what I feel well, look, we can go into theory. This is the mode. This wasn't really a big presentation. I don't feel like it would have taken them too much effort to put together. Like there was nothing here that says this took a lot of time and effort to put together,
No.
So I do feel like this was kind of potentially something that they could have even just like last month was like, hey, do you want to try one? Like maybe last month they're discussing E3, right? What are we going to do? Well, we could, how about we pre-film a presentation for E3 kind of thing? Or how about we do a live show and we invite all these people come down here? Especially if they're announcing something big like the PS5 or whatever around that time period. I suppose it depends what they've got going on. And maybe they were like, oh, how about all right, let's try the film shit or whatever. How about we try a Nintendo Direct type thing? We'll do one next month, see how it goes, see what the general reaction is online to people, see how they react to us doing something like that. And then depending on how that goes is how we'll shape the rest of our year and our E3 presentation and blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I suppose another thing is if you are looking at it and comparing it to Nintendo Directs, Nintendo does a combination of ones like these where they'll have a voice in the background just going over like a slideshow of announcements. Then they have ones where the Indie Direct one, when they had two presenters in between talking to people, developers coming on screen, introducing their games and stuff. And then they also do ones where for the bigger stuff, you'd have your Reggies, your whoever on screen talking for a while. So once again, not taking this first show as the stock standard for how the rest of the state of plays have to go. I think it could be like, okay, so this is how this one went. But then if they were doing a bigger announcement type, an hour-long presentation or something for around E3 time, they could have your Shuheis and whoever the fuck on screen and recording segments for it. So I think it makes sense, yeah. I'd fully expect them to do something along these lines.
Something
if this
bigger.
Yeah. But if they're heading down the pre-recorded presentation path, then it makes sense for that's how they go about it. The only time I could see them actually doing a live show
is PS5.
Is PS5 reveal, because that is like where you need to do it live solely kind of to invite the press from like general tech
media,
websites. Yeah, and general media and these sorts of things. You need to have an event so you can invite press to an event. You can't expect the same. I mean, if they did a PS5 reveal this way, it would still obviously get covered, but you need to hold an event and you can invite every fucking media outlet to that thing and guarantee you'll get coverage all on the same day and the date and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Maybe they get hands on time. Maybe they get a closer look at the console. They can be like, yeah, in person, it's a lot shinier and it's blah, blah, blah. You know, these sorts of things. You need to have events for stuff like that. Seeing the console sitting up on stage it looks so tiny or, you know, whatever. So that's, PS5 is live event to me for sure. But everything else just seems like a presentation type thing. And the only people doing presentations still are just going to have a little old Xbox hanging out at E3 like, hey guys, how's it going?
And Bethesda. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bethesda.
And maybe Google.
And probably Google, I guess. And now Apple as well.
Yeah, I guess. Oh, jeez. E3 is going to be interesting.
Didn't think about that one, did you?
No.
Everyone's in the games market. All right, so let's go for the announcements then. See what we got happening here. So the first thing that was shown was an Iron the Man VR game that is coming out in 2019.
Were you like me and went, holy shit, they're going to show the Avengers game?
At first, I was like, this is the fucking Avengers game. This thing is about to kick off in a blaze.
Yeah.
But then I was like, no, it graphically doesn't look, and the voice acting doesn't sound good enough for what I expect that game to be. So my head went up and then I started coming down. And then, because this was all happening in that part where he's jumping out of the plane and he's like the machines flying onto himself. Within those couple seconds, this is all what's going through my brain. And then the second it cut to the first person footage, I'm like, VR, right, okay, got it.
Yeah.
You know? So it was a bunch of up-down emotions. It was like, oh, no, it's probably not because quality isn't there. And it was like, VR? And it was like, oh, but it might be crappy VR if all you're doing is like kind of flying through the air like you are now, but it could be fun for an hour. Like, I don't know the up-down.
It's definitely going to depend on price point, whether this is good or not, because it feels like those sort of superhero experience games we've been getting recently, you know, the movie tie-ins, the Justice League one where you can play as all the Justice League characters and do a very limited...
it has to be better than those ones, surely.
I guess. No guarantees, but I mean, they're showing it off. It looks like a segment out of Iron Man 3, I think. That was the one with the plane in it, right?
I think so. I honestly cannot remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Iron Man 3 had the plane, but yeah, looks fine. I don't know how I feel about all the UI on the screen.
But one thing, I mean,
it's realistic to being Iron Man, but
in the trailer it looks a lot more crowded than it will be when you're actually in the headset. You got to remember, I feel. Because when you see the footage, it's like, holy shit, that's a lot like of screen space being taken up right there. But then I do think once you have the helmet on, it'll be more spread out.
It'll feel like it's the actual helmet, yeah. Yeah,
it'll feel like the actual helmet. Well, I presume that's what will hopefully happen. I didn't look up, I only just looked up now who was doing it. So Camouflage is the studio doing it, which is interesting because they were the studio that did Republic, which was originally a mobile game, a stealth mobile game that was inspired by Metal Gear and stuff, which they did end up bringing over to consoles, and they did actually port it to VR at one stage eventually. So it's interesting to go from that, and that was also a Kickstarted game, so interesting.
Yeah.
So it is, well, I hate to use the words, it is an actual game, but it is an actual game compared to those free movie tie-in experiences that we get for the stuff you were saying before. Like, I never played the Justice League one. I played the Spider-Man one other one for something, I think. But yeah, I mean, they're free. They take like 15, 20 minutes. They're basically trailers. They're like, hey, download this. It's free. And then at the end, they're like, hey, movie. Go see the movie. Go fucking watch the movie. So this seems like a little bit something else. But yeah, I also hope that, I mean, I'm more interested in how much freedom you have. Like, am I flying in a straight line and just using my move controllers to is it an on rails thing where I'm just like shooting my move controls and being like pew pew pew, yeah, okay, sure, or is it something where I can actually fly freely as Iron Man up down wherever I want to go, loop de loop, So it's Ace Combat, but Iron Man and Iron Man. So it's one of those ones where I'm down for it, just depending. Also, it does have a story. Marvel's blog post just posted something finally for it. It says, Stark confronts ghosts from his past, powerful forces who seek to ruin him and everything he stands for, alongside iconic allies and supervillains as they jet around the globe on a heroic mission to save not only Stark Industries, but the world itself.
Yeah. It sounds a little bit more extensive.
Actual story. Yeah, it's actually got a story and stuff.
Or at least
they've got
more than one story mission.
For it.
More than one mission.
Yeah.
It sounds like multiples.
Yeah, and they've got they've got cover art here for it. So I'm like, okay, so it's getting a physical release and everything. Intriguing.
I mean, that makes the most sense. I mean, you go into a Walmart in America and then you go, some grandparent's going to see it. You go, yeah, I'll buy that for my kid, my grandkid. And then they don't have PSVR and they're like, oh no, you need to buy PSVR to play it, Grandma.
Yeah. Well, that is a really good point, really, because when you're saying, when you're like, oh, all kids these days care about is like superhero movies and Fortnite and, like what are the top things in the world? So it's like, how do we get them interested in VR? And when we say kids, I'm sure they're
over 12.
Kids that are over 12 or whatever the age is. Yes, exactly. So their eyes don't fucking burst into a million pieces. It's like, how do we get them interested in VR? And yeah, you're probably right. Like seeing an Iron Man game sitting on the shelf there, PSVR. Like I want a virtual reality Iron Man. I want that. So, I mean, I'd be the same if I was a kid. I'm sure. Like, you don't really think about the quality that we're talking about now. Like, what's the freedom? What's these things? If you gave me a shitty on rails action VR Iron Man game and I was a kid, that would be it. That's all I'd care about. I wouldn't fucking care. It'd just be like, that's cool. So we'll see how it does. Need more information on it for sure. The next thing we got was Crash Team Racing, a Nitro Fueled trailer that announced some PS4 exclusive elements for the game, alongside the fact it'll be getting all 13, and this is the part that was confusing me, and I was trying to find out information before we recorded the show, but couldn't fully solve it. It is getting all 13 of Nitro Kart, which is the PS2 Crash Racing game that wasn't as well received as Crash Team Racing. All 13 of those tracks are being remastered for this game as well. Now, what I was trying to look up, and I couldn't find clarification on, is that these tracks are only being included in that you could kind of race on in a single player, kind of like Grand Prix mode or whatever, and also multiplayer. Whereas I'm interested to know if they're actually adding these tracks into the story mode aspect in some fashion, because, and as we start talking, he was like, just save it for the show. So this is what I was going to say before, was in Crash Team Racing, one thing that kind of separates it a lot from Mario Kart is that you have this hub world. And in the hub world, there's not much to do, but you to start a race and whatever, you'll drive around, you'll go up to like the entryway to the race, which is like kind of like in all other Crash games. It's a little glowing portal thing that you jump into, but you drive into on your cart, and obviously then you enter the race. If they wanted to add these 13 tracks in as new events, in my mind, they just add a new area called the Nitro area or something into the story mode. Like, or simple.
They just pull that whole section out.
No, that's part of what made the game so cool. No, you don't understand. You haven't played it. You can't pull out the hub world.
It sounds like an an unnecessary step. That's what it sounds like to get into levels.
No, it's world building. Okay, Game of Thrones, south of the wall. Plus, there was a sense of progression because you start the game in a certain section, right? And you've got access to tracks. And then this is how it works for all of the game. You'll have to beat the boss. So the first boss is Ripperoo. you beat Ripperoo, you get a gate key, and then you take that key over to a gate, and it locks the gate, and then you unlock the next section of the hub world that you can drive around, and there's more tracks and stuff to find, etc., etc., etc. This would be the same as saying, oh, Spyro doesn't even need a hub world or anything like this. Just fucking level select.
Yeah. No.
No, you're insane. Okay,
I don't know.
No, shut up.
I just feel like with a generation of kids raised on Mario Kart and not playing Crash Team Racing, it might seem unnecessary.
Well, they were raised wrong. Fucking parents these days, get your shit sorted out. Right? Crash Team Racing is how we raise kids in the 21st century. None of your
No,
Mario
it isn't.
Kart shit.
Well,
Yes,
maybe
it
now.
is. Yes.
They haven't been able to play for Crash Team Racing for the last 2 generations, so
They could. I 100%ed it on my PSP only X amount of years ago.
okay.
What?
You're kind of an exception, though.
You're kind of an exception. Yeah, so Crash Team Racing getting stuff. I still need a little bit more information about. I need clarification for these tracks, but cool. Either way, I'm like, cool. It's good that they're remaking the Naughty Dog game and also including elements of other Crash Racing stuff in it, I guess. Like they're not, it's like post Naughty Dog. A lot of people didn't like that game for various reasons. It wasn't as good. But the tracks, the tracks were cool. They were still designed well and whatever else. They're interesting tracks. So it's 13 more tracks. And even if we don't get even if we don't get them into the story mode and whatever, it's still going to be good somewhat because it will be like, hey, here's 13 more tracks on top of the already X amount of tracks I can't remember that are in the normal single player that'll be used for multiplayer, So then we've got more tracks for multiplayer, which makes online play, of course, last and become more interesting for longer periods. I wish I should have added up just before. I can't bother doing now, but it's like, oh, we got a lot of multiplayer tracks to go here for. Okay, next thing that they announced was that No Man's Sky is getting a free VR mode update that's coming later in the year.
The thing we thought we were going to get at launch is finally here.
Yeah, at least it's free is the thing.
Yeah.
I'll say. And to be honest, I got No Man's Sky day one launch, right? I wasn't a big fan. I returned it. I didn't like it very much. When they announced that whatever the next, was that what it was called?
Yep.
Yeah. Next update thing that happened last year, I was like, a lot of these things are cool. I'm glad that they're turning this game around. From everything I read and heard, people were enjoying it a lot more. I'm like, cool, but I'm still not in. However, VR might be the thing that actually gets me to go back and try No Man's Sky out. What do you reckon? Are you intrigued at all, or?
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing. I mean, I haven't been keeping up to date with what changes have been made and that sort of thing, but a VR mode in that game makes sense. It's not overly action-paced or anything, so, I mean, you shouldn't expect motion sickness. And then you can fly around in a freaking spaceship. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
It made sense at the start for it to have VR so finally, I guess it makes in hindsight it makes sense why there wasn't VR at the start, with all the actual troubles with the game, not throwing another thing into it that would have probably been more damaging to VR in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I guess it's cool. It's cool that they're still working on it and still adding features, however many years later.
Several, it'd be like nearly 4 at this stage, I feel. Something like that, probably.
Yeah.
So if I was to pick a number off the top of my head. I'm intrigued because, like, at its core, it's kind of an exploration game, I suppose. It's mostly about, and I know they've added a lot of new features and stuff there that I probably don't know about, but at its core, it's just like exploring and, getting elements and stuff and inventory shit and whatever else. And it's like, what is this planet? And finding all the things and scanning the animals, and then you take off on your ship and you go to another planet and blah, 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 blah. So it's like all that sounds like it could be a lot more interesting in VR because then you're more invested in the exploration and the environmental stuff that's happening, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm keen to try it, I think.
And you can probably pick it up for cheap-ish.
Yeah. These days, probably for sure, yeah.
I
know it's
imagine
been
they
on
had so
numbers of
many
sales.
copies handed trader back in.
Yeah, pre-owned copies. I'm like, but does it? I think the next update was paid or whatever, so maybe.
I don't
I'm
think
not
so.
even sure, to be honest.
I think people only
It's
paid
free
when
as well?
it came out on Xbox, and that's where.
Oh, okay, yes, because
Yeah.
you're right. So yeah, you just pick it up for fucking $9 in a pre-owned box at EB Games, and you're set, I suppose. Yeah, sure. Next thing they showed was Readyset Heroes, which I
Readyset.
wrote down was, red. What did I say? Readyset.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it should have been called. Readyset Heroes, which I said I wrote down as a cutie dungeon crawler. You compete against other teams though in this dungeon crawler. So what it seems is a team of 2 kind of starts at one end of the dungeon as like a rabbit and a frog or something, and then because all the characters are animal based, and then it seemed like a team of 2 could also start at the opposite engine dungeon or something along those lines. I didn't really understand it fully. Or
So
you're
versing another team. You're going through the same identical dungeon. The team that gets there through it faster gets more advantages at the end when you sort of face off against each other. But it seems like there's going to be a bunch of other mini games and that sort of stuff. There was some sort of thing with snails. I don't know. But yeah,
Snails?
yeah. There was snails with like little, whatever the thing that jockeys sit on is. Saddles, that's it.
got him.
Yeah, nailed it. Yeah, this looks cool. I think this was, the thing that probably caught my most attention out of this, because it was one of only a handful of brand new things that we saw, but yeah.
You like
It
these
looks
types
cool.
of games as well.
Yeah. Definitely something to be keeping my eye on, and I expect we'll be playing when it comes out. And yeah, it's a cute #cuties game.
Yeah, it did. I like the art style and the character design.
Yeah.
and stuff all seemed very, very cool. So I was intrigued about all of that. And yeah, you're right. It was one of the only new games that was announced. So that's cool. I'm intrigued. Next thing we got was Blood and Truth, the VR game. Got a release date and new trailer. So it's coming out May 28th or 29th. I haven't really done the conversion of the dates to find out if they're worldwide or whatever. Anyway, around there.
Should be.
And I thought it was a fun trailer, interesting trailer. I took note that I thought the second the guy started talking, it just sounded like, I'm Jason Statham and fucking Transporter 4, mate. That's not really a very good Jason Statham impression, but yeah, it was a very like British action movie trailer, I guess.
Yeah,
is what I got. I liked it though. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks like it's more story based than, because obviously I played that demo back at PAX. It was just all combat, but yeah, this looks more story based. Obviously, it's from the Getaway. No, that was the name of the PS Worlds segment.
London Heist.
London Heist, that's what it was. Yeah. So obviously expanding on that sort of gameplay. Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, it definitely looks like a VR action movie that you can play through, which I think it's going to be. I suspect this will be the big PSVR game for this year.
You reckon? No. I reckon.
I think this is the one they'll be pushing this year.
I reckon they'll push this for a period of time and whatever, and it's kind of be. I reckon it will be like a bundle thing and whatever else, but. And I hope it'll be good. I don't think it'll be like the PSVR game of the year.
Really?
I reckon they'll go to some. Yeah, no, fuck no. Because I mean,
you expect something cool in India to come out and utilize it.
Yeah, something along those lines. But I think I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, it's an on rails Hollywood action movie that you get to experience, which is cool. It has a bunch of actors. I was going to look up all their names and stuff, but I spotted what I presume were several actual big actors in it, including the main police or whatever dude. I can't remember his name though. From Resident Evil, you know that guy, first Resident Evil movie. I think who it was. And there were some other actors I believe I spotted throughout the trailer that I was going to check if I just thought they looked like them or not, but like British actors, of course. And it's like, hey, yeah, you're just playing through this British action movie. You're playing for a fucking Guy Ritchie film to a point. It's like a Guy Ritchie film combined with a Fast and Furious movie because you're jumping onto a moving plane at one point and climbing up, and then everything's fucking exploding and whatever else. And it looks fun, and I'm sure it will be fun. But at the end of the year, do I expect to be going, what was the best PSVR game of 2019? Oh, it was Blood and Truth for sure. That's not what I expect to be saying. I'm highly doubtful that's what's going to end up happening. And if it is, what a shit year for PSVR, honestly.
Well, what if it's an amazing story?
I don't think it's an amazing story. I think it's
okay.
Fodder story that'll be entertaining, but
my money is this being the highest selling game of the year for PSVR.
Oh my! All right. Yeah. Okay.
Because I feel like this is what people want from.
Do you really think this is what people want?
It's like an interactive movie, and I feel like that's what people. This will hit the most broad audience of people playing PSVR.
All right.
Yep.
Don't speak for me when you say this is what people want on VR.
Yep. Okay, I won't speak for you.
You better not.
Okay, I won't.
I want this on right. No, I do want this game, but I don't want all the games.
So you do want this game, so you're in that broad section of people who want this game.
Shut up, Ash. Shut up. Just shut up. Let's move on to the PSVR montages that we got. So we got a couple of release dates and stuff chucked in here. I'm not sure if some of this was already known or not, so we're just going to go over them. So Falcon Age is coming out April 19th. That is the
9th.
Thank you. Coming out April 9th, that is the game where you're Falcon trainer and you got a cute little Falcon and you can
do fist bumps.
Yeah. You can do fist bumps with it, and there's one point where it catches it in love heart hands in the short section of the trailer we got here. So, I mean, I'm not actually sure what you do in the game other than fist bump it and stuff, but I'm down.
I don't know. There was some sort of robot doing a handstand. It looks weird. Interesting. I think you can play it not in PSVR as well. So,
really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
It was a PSVR game, but well, there you go. Didn't even know. The next thing we got was Tales of Tales, which is a tabletop thing. I don't really know how else to...
Yeah, it looks like a tabletop game with like card mechanics or something.
Yeah, and that's coming out on April 16th. Then we got Jupiter and Mars, which is coming out April 22nd. That is a...
Dolphin Simulator.
Yeah, that's probably the... Yep. Yeah, Dolphin Simulator. That's probably the
Dolphin Simulator crossed with like Abzu, that sort of art style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works. That works for sure. Then we got Trove Saves the Universe coming out May... Oh, hold on. No, go back. I missed one. Sorry.
It doesn't matter. Golf. These were all out of order from the actual game. Yep.
Everybody's Golf is out May 21st.
Yes.
I'm not 100% sure if we had that release date or not. I don't think we did.
I don't think so.
I don't believe we did.
I don't believe we've even seen footage of the VR version before. I know it was coming.
We've seen a little bit, but not like much, I guess. I take what you said about London Heist. No, whatever that game's called, Blunt Truth. Everybody's Golf could be the killer game of the year PSVR game. This is what we at the end of the year could be saying is the best PSVR game of the year. This is what I'll put my money on. All right.
Okay.
I'll put it on Everybody's Golf.
Just a VR adaptation of a game that we've already had.
Yeah, but everybody likes that game.
That's true.
And now in VR,
it's in the title.
It's in VR. I mean,
definitely.
I like these. Yeah, I'm very keen. I didn't even play the last one that came out because, for whatever reasons at the time, couldn't be bothered with whatever. But I like everybody's golf games that I've played previously. I like golf games enough, especially the more, not like your PGA Tour ones where it gets too hardcore into management of the fucking wind and whatever. I'm like, that's too far, but I like golf games fine. I enjoyed playing all the Wii Sports ones and stuff because they were obviously simple fun and whatever else. So I'm down. VR, yes. I'd like to play the golf game in VR. And everything I see about it, I'm like, if it's just everybody's golf in VR, then it does have the potential to be like, okay, yeah. I don't think we've had a golf game in PSVR unless there's one random one that's came out.
There probably
completely
is.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
There probably is. Probably next to that fucking Final Fantasy fishing game that we're going to count as a fishing game as well.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. I don't know if it was just me, but the perspective kind of looked weird in the. But that might just be a case of showing it on a two-dimensional plane or whatever. The description.
I think that's
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it is, because often when they show the footage, that's the problem. It's like you're missing like several inches of what you could probably see of peripheral vision when you actually have the VR headset on and stuff. That kind of forms a much larger picture when you have the headset on, of course. So it's like anytime I've recorded gameplay footage for VR, it's this thing of you can kind of not stretch it fully to show more of what it actually looks like, or stretch it to fit the screen, at which point you're losing some, of course, of the picture to the sides. But yeah. Then we got Trove Saves the Universe.
Trove Saves the Universe.
Game. Trove Saves the Universe, which is the next game from Squanch Games, which is the Justin Roiland thing.
Yep.
I mean, that's how we describe this at this point. It's like, what is Squanch Games? I know there's other people involved. There's a guy that did it's like got that other guy that did I don't remember now. It's got that guy that did the game, did that one game involved as well, but everyone kind of just thinks of it as it's the Justin Roiland / Rick and Morty studio thing that exists, and then everyone gets excited. I mean, it looks cool. This is like compared to the other ones, this is more of a third person. You're controlling the character. You see control. It looks more like fucking Astrobot.
That's what I thought. The
thing. Yeah, I don't expect it to be anywhere near as good as Astrobot. However,
probably not.
It's to describe it to people who, without showing them the trailer, it would be like, hey, it's like you're controlling a character. The controller's in the screen. It's like Astrobot, I guess, is the thing that exists. Okay. Then, anything else on that one? I got nothing.
No, it looks interesting.
It looks fine.
Stanley Parable, William Pug, who did Stanley Parable.
That's it. Stanley Parable. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That's the guy. Fucking think of him.
I also expect it to be very amusing and that sort of humor, obviously. So,
all
the Rick and Morty fans are going to be buying the PSVRs.
I reckon buying the game. The problem with all the other games is they're all like you play them and you're done kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is
There's
the
no
problem?
replayability.
There's really no replayability or much to do. They're more like experiencing a thing, whereas this one seems more like a
game.
Could have the potential for more like moment to moment gameplay, and then offering up like other stuff to do, I guess. Yeah, because you're controlling an actual character where they could add in like collectibles and whatever else. I don't really know on top of the story. Whereas all the other stuff is just you're just experiencing kind of an interactive story happening for the most part. The Rick and Morty one that they put out was, I don't actually know if Squanch Games did that. I presume they did. Anyway, Justin Roiland, either way, that wasn't very good. But then the Accounting Plus thing, I quite enjoyed. I played through that enough times to get all the trophies and stuff. But once again, it's like if you play for it once and you don't care about trophies, it's like an hour or so and then you're done. Nothing else to do. And also, if you hate Justin Roiland's voice and his characters and his writing, you basically cannot play these games because it's just 100%
him.
Yeah. Do you like Rick and Morty? No. Okay. These games aren't for you. 100% not for you. Because it's the same exact type of humor and characters and writing and delivery of voice acting and everything. All right. So next one we got was Mini Mech Mayhem got a release date of June 18th. So this is the game coming from Future Lab where you control chessboard
It's another board
pieces as
game.
mech character things. Yeah, I guess. I don't really. We've seen it before. I'm not.
Is that the
like,
kind of funny showcase?
Yeah. And every time I see it, I'm like, okay, so I understand it's a board game and it's a multiplayer thing, obviously, and whatever else, but I never understand what the fuck the gameplay is from these things. Like, what sort of moment to moment actions am I making? Are we taking?
I feel like it's
turns?
a turn-based card. You get. I feel like that's how it'll be. Like, be a turn-based thing where you select what options you're going to do, and then everybody's actions play out, or something like that.
Yeah, so you like all lock in your stuff, and then you watch it play out. Is what you're saying.
I think
Okay.
that's what it looks like, or at least it's from what I've read. That's what I can gather.
We'll find out, I guess.
Find out.
Then we got. June. That's right, and then also on the June 18th, we got Vacation Simulators coming out finally.
Yeah,
this one, I'll be interested to see how well it does because when Job Simulator came out years and years ago on whatever the other VR headsets are called,
Oculus and whatever.
everyone. Yeah, the ones you plug into your PC places. People are like, this is cool, this is exciting. It launches with PSVR, and it was cool and it was exciting because there was obviously more limited
Nothing
games
else.
and it was one that worked, I guess is one way to put it. Like, it was a several hour experience that was funny and fun to do and whatever. But years later, with so many more experiences and stuff on VR games that we have now, and I'm wondering how well a game like Job Simulator would work. I'm hoping it's still fun and it's enjoyable, but I'm a little bit worried it's just like too much of the same without updating and moving forward. Like, it just looks like Job Simulator 2, which it obviously is, but like, how much new gameplay elements have they added in? Because Job Simulator, you didn't move around or do anything. You spawn at your desk or whatever, and you'd interact with stuff at your desk and whatever else is going on there, and that's how you'd solve the puzzles for the game and do what needed to be done and whatever else. And from what I've seen about Vacation Simulator, it's it's the same sort of thing. You stand in one spot and you pull out things and interact with them and blah 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 blah, which I'm kind of over at this point, I guess, to a degree.
Yeah.
Did you haven't played Job Simulator?
No, I haven't played Job Simulator. But
So
I feel like
does this intrigue you, or
it doesn't. I'm not going to dash out day one and buy it, I don't think, but it'll be a fun thing to play through at some point, I think. And people just like these mini experiences. I think it's an easy thing. You just play through one simulation for like 15 minutes, have a good time, enjoy the funny robots trying to explain how humans lived and whatever. So it's an amusing game. I think it'll probably do reasonably well, but probably, yeah. People liked Job Simulator, and I suspect they'll give Vacation Simulator a chance at the very least.
Yeah. I'm sure people will be interested. We'll just have to see. All right, next thing we got was probably one of my favorite. I think, probably my favorite thing that was shown. I'd say out of the whole show, which was Observation, which is coming from the Stories Untold creator, which is John McKellen. And it's a space narrative game, I guess, where you are the ship. that was the only weird part of the trailer where it's like, you are the ship, or whatever it said. But it looks really good, like animated and visually it looks good. And then it looks creepy as fuck, and you're in space. And from what I gathered, I guess you're kind of trying to help this character go through and do stuff within the ship to escape whatever the problem that's occurred is, whatever, like what's actually going on is unknown. Really, the trailer didn't give too much away on that. It was more just like creepy tone setting up, and you're trapped, and you are the ship. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it looks interesting. I guess is it going to be like a experience where it's just there's a set things that are set to happen and you just have to like quick time event where things happen? Well, what kind of things can you do as the spaceship, I guess, is the question.
Yes.
And then is that going to be interesting enough to carry a game for however long the game's going to be? Or or is it just like an interactive movie where you're just switching through screens or whatever and then just changing slight things?
Probably more what B, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, to some degree. I just quickly went to find a description, see if we get more information. So the synopsis kind of thing is set on an Earth orbiting facility. Observation sees players take control of Sam, an onboard AI, assisting crew member Dr. Emma Fisher after a mysterious event damages the station and seems to cause the rest of the crew to vanish. There's also the small matter of a rogue signal with a simple message for you. Bring her. So you are the AI and you're receiving rogue messages of bring her from someone else. On IGN, in their article, they say they've already had a chance to play the game. You'll also be able to check out exclusive impressions and learn a whole lot more later this week. Suffice to say, it's very exciting. Blah, 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 blah. One thing I'll say for it, and the thing that intrigues me most is, well, a lot of people probably haven't played Stories Untold. It was a PC game. I saw it on sale once at some point of the year, and 2000 and what year are we in now? 2017 is when I played it, right? And it was on my shortlist for Game of the Year. I reckon it would have been. It never made it into my top 10. It probably would have been like 11th or 12th or something if I stretched it, because I ended up quite liking it a bit. And the thing that made it most interesting, without going too heavy into spoilers, I suppose, because people still may want to play it if they've got the PC personal computers, it's not a game that could come to PlayStation because it's a lot of keyboardy interaction stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know how you
sort of things.
Yeah, text-based stuff happening. I don't know how you could really port it well, so I don't think that's going to happen. But one of the things that kind of worked well for that game is it was a big genre mesh. Like, it was I don't even really know how to explain it.
It's kind of episodic.
Yeah, it was, well, it was four stories that did have a connecting element by the end of the game, even though they all seemed completely different. And it was also a puzzle game at its heart. That's how, like, the gameplay was all around solving puzzles. Each thing had different sorts of ways you went around solving the puzzle and stuff like that, and different characters and stuff. And it was creepy in its own way, each different thing. But it was really, really different, you know? And by the time I got to the end of the game and I saw how everything kind of came together, I was like, wow, I did not see this coming at all. And I really appreciated how all the puzzle pieces were kind of laid out together and all these different genre elements were kind of combined into this weird hybrid puzzle game thing. So it was a really refreshing game, I found. And that's probably why I'm like looking at this, like, cool. I really like Stories Untold. Next game, I'm intrigued. Set on a space station. It looks creepy. I like these sorts of things. Like, if this was a movie, I'd be like, yes, you know, like, so I think that's kind of another thing that I'm looking at it as. Like, yes, what is the story here? What is happening? Because if this was a movie, I'd be 100% down as well. There's some screenshots online that you can find, and looking through them, it does seem like there will be like it's going to be a variation of puzzles. I think is what it's going to be. So you're going to have to lead Emma through different parts of the space station, and then at different segments and stuff, it seems like you will have to solve puzzles that'll differ depending on what the task is, kind of thing. So if I was to guess, it's not going to be like repeated puzzles that are very similar. It's going to be a bunch of very different feeling puzzles and elements as you continue through your mission to get her to wherever you need to get her to and deal with what you need to deal with. So I'm intrigued to see more, that's for sure. And I think it looks, if anything, it was a cool trailer, I thought. Like, it was a very, like, it kind of grabbed you somewhat, the trailer, I felt. It's like very loud and hey,
Yeah.
you are the ship. Are you intrigued at all, or?
Yeah, it looks interesting. Let's see how. Probably not a game I'll pick up, but yeah.
I see how it is.
Yeah.
It's out soon, May 21st. Also, is the other thing. So, not very far at all. Some would say a couple months. Then we got Five Nights at Freddy's VR Help Wanted. That is the full title, I believe. No?
No, why would I want to play a game with that's pretty much just jump scares in PSVR? That sounds like a terrible idea.
Yeah. Even I don't care about Five Nights at Freddy's. I've never cared about Five Nights at Freddy's, but basically because of what you just said. Because it's just built solely on jump scares.
Yeah, I don't want to risk the PSVR headset coming off my head when I'm jumping and moving around. Squirming, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, why? That doesn't look fun at all. I mean, the only reason I'd ever play it would be for hashtag content.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would definitely not care about this for fun. Like, there's nothing even interesting about the story to me that would make me want to play it. As far as I can gather, there is barely any story. There's also like 21 billion of these fucking games that have been ported to everywhere, and now they're creeping over the VR as well. I'm like, fucking great.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't care. I have nothing else to say. Do you?
Not really, no.
All right. Next one we got was new gameplay footage and the release date moved for Concrete Genie, which we haven't seen in quite some time. So they moved it to fall 2019, which is our
Our spring.
Spring. Okay. So towards the end of the year kind of thing. Maybe like September-ish or something, maybe, I guess. Release date could be, yeah?
Yeah.
Spring? September, I think. Yeah, off the top of my head. Could be around that time. It was the most gameplay, I suppose, we've seen, and like bigger kind of look at what
you'll actually the biggest look we've had at the game so far.
Yeah, definitely the biggest look we've had at the game. Up until this point, it was more like, okay, you're drawing graffiti and stuff, and the bullies chase you, but what else is actually going on in this game? And yeah, I was never completely sold. I was like, I like the art style. It always looked pretty. I like the character designs. It kind of reminds me of. It always kind of reminded me of that, like a Tim Burton-esque type thing, I guess, to a degree, or like Coraline, Neil Gaiman type thing, like along those sorts of like character design wise, if you know what I mean, like similar element to that. And then watching this trailer, I'm suddenly like, yes, please, this actually looks very, very cool, because it seems like you'll start and you'll progress, and then what's going to happen is you're going to be bringing more of the city to life by drawing and whatever else you're doing, like bringing these genies into the city. And then you're going to unlock more powers and stuff. At some stage there, it seemed like you was like activating like hover boot type things, like jumping off a roof or something like that. It kind of looked like, like shooting off from his boots. Then there's also the element that it seems you'll be going to a dark dimension, or however you want to call it, I guess. At some stage there, it seems like he goes to a different dimension, and
or maybe the darkness is spreading into the real world or something.
Maybe you're fighting it back. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think though? Did you like it, or? Yeah,
it looks good. I mean, it looks very beautiful. Got more story idea of how it starts off and that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, and it looks kind of like a collect. Well, obviously those pages that get ripped out at the start of the trailer will be a collectible thing that you have to pick up through the entire game. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good experience. There's not a hell of a lot of platformy sort of games, I guess.
No.
Yeah, this seems to be sort of a different take on it. Yeah. So obviously, what you draw on the walls will be customizable and stuff. So that's cool.
Somewhat
customizable.
Like, you're not free-handing it, but that seems like there's options, which I suppose maybe the options you have is down to the amount of pages you've collected at that point or something, maybe.
Maybe.
That'd work out somewhat. I don't know. Like, maybe there's certain amount of pages you have to collect for story progression, and then there's like bonus ones that are your collectibles and stuff, I guess. But yeah, very long trailer, and I don't mean long in a bad way. I mean like definitely, as you said, the biggest look we've got at the game, and looks really, really pretty. I think it looked really, really pretty on your 4K TVs and stuff. I can for sure see that. All the neon stuff, which kind of course, just reminds me of Second Son, because that game, although a lot of things look better than it these days, the neon stuff in that game, I'm just like, oh, that was the best. It's like the prettiest thing in Second Son was just seeing these giant neon streaks glowing behind you, or of a character when they was flying around. So I'm like, yes, please give me more of that in Concrete Genie. I'm excited. I'm down for it. The Bully 2 game that we didn't see coming. Bully 2.
Yep.
Concrete Genie.
The
Rockstar
anti-bullying, PlayStation's anti-bullying campaign.
Yeah. Don't bully people, or else some kid with a magic paintbrush will fuck you up. That's right.
Don't think that's the takeaway, but sure.
Okay. And then we got a Days Gone trailer with a little bit of new gameplay. This was basically hey, this game's coming out. I hope you're aware. Like, just so you know, it's out soon. Like, very, very soon. Please buy it. That's kind of all I got from this.
Well, I felt like there were a couple more story beats, and you could piece together a bit more of the story based on other trailers and that sort of thing. Obviously, Sam Witwer's character's wife is obviously playing a big role in some way. Seems like she's some sort of important doctor that'll help, is fighting against the freakers or whatever, like trying to look for a cure or something, was my impression. And probably she'll play a big role, or she's someone you're trying to get to during the course of the game. It seems like there's a lot of other characters as well. He seems to be teaming up with some other characters, whereas we got the impression a lot you were playing like a lone wolf sort of figure. Maybe that's not necessarily the case. But yeah, I'm intrigued about the story elements of the game, but the gameplay doesn't really interest me at all. So,
are you getting it though?
Maybe. Probably not.
What is it about the gameplay that turns you off?
No, just I don't know. Yeah, it just zombie games don't interest me too much. But
it's not a zombie game, Ash.
Yeah,
it's a
I know.
game.
They're living and they're not zombies, but yeah.
those children that you kill, they don't have the excuse of saying, but they're zombies. It's fine. They're real kids. You fucking stab them through the face. They're real. Okay. Yeah. That's kind of fucked up, guys, but that's what we're doing. I as someone who, of course, at PAX wasn't the biggest fan, and I haven't played it again since there, obviously, the more we continue to see about it, the more I'm on board, but I'm kind of just done with seeing it, I guess, is my problem.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I understand that they keep releasing, pretty much every week for the past month and a half, they have every week dropped a little bit of more, a little bit gameplay, a little bit of information. Here's a blog post, here's something. They're always pushing it out, and I think it is because they're just trying to make sure that, and they kind of need to a degree, I suppose.
Yeah, they have to.
Sure
it's a new IP. It's not doing what Horizon did, where everybody's going gaga over it. So,
yes. So I get why they're doing it, and I'm not trying to tell them to stop. I'm just saying, from my perspective, I'm just done. Like I'm gonna play it. Okay, I'm intrigued. I like what I'm seeing with the story. I like Sam Witwer enough. I'm on board. I'm done seeing the gameplay. Yes, I gather you can lead freaker hordes into encampments and take them down. I've got it, everyone. Cool. I understand. The only part of this whole fucking thing that got me was I was like, holy shit, there's a fucking helicopter. What is going on here? Like, where's that flying to? Where did it come from? Is there a section of the world that's kind of more sectioned off by the army or something, where more people are...
Or the CDC or whatever, the sciencey...
like the hazmat suit dudes and people taking off and stuff. So that was the only part where I'm like, okay, that's a little bit more intriguing. But then even that, I'm like, oh, did I need to see that? Just stop showing me stuff. I'm down. I want to take down your freaker army and upgrade my motorcycle into a beast, and I'll whistle for it and it'll come. It won't actually have to You have to walk to find it and
You
fill
have
up
to
with fuel
find
because
it.
this is a hardcore game. The last thing they showed, I gave zero fucks about because I don't care, but I'm sure a lot of people cared and stuff. So it was more Kombat 11 trailer where they revealed the characters Jax, Kung Lao, and Liu Kang. Okay. They're all characters that exist in this game and universe, and they're all characters that are happening to be in Mortal Kombat 11. The trailer was interesting because Ed Boon apparently just keeps pushing his I want hip hop music in all of our trailers now agenda, which I'm down for, but at the same time I find it so weird because for so long this game was kind of like rock and heavy metal aesthetic and stuff. Now every trailer is like this one, I can't remember. It was like Ice Cube and Vince Staples, I think was what it was, wasn't it? I can't even remember now.
I have no idea. I
wasn't playing. Okay, it's probably, I can't remember. To be honest, the trailer started. I was like, whatever, I don't fucking care, and I started writing notes and going over stuff for this stuff while it was on the background. But for some reason, I think it was like an Ice Cube song and a Vince Staples song or something like that. Interesting trailer from what I saw. I don't really care though. Do you have anything?
It looks like the story mode of this game is going to be bonkers. I mean, it obviously, as someone who's played Injustice, the last two Injustice games, I see so many similar setups. Oh, these two characters come together and then they're going to end up fighting. But yeah, I'm not a huge Mortal Kombat fan, but it looks like it's going to be a whole lot of Mortal Kombats. Looks like there's some sort of time travel, future, present storyline. I don't know, it's interesting. Yeah. It definitely looks like there's going to be an extensive campaign mode. So
good for Mortal Kombat fans.
Yeah.
I hope you all enjoy it. For me, I was like, okay. Should have ended with Days Gone. I would have been happy with that maybe. I don't know.
Probably not from the sound of it.
Lesser of two evils, maybe. I just don't care about Mortal Kombat. I can't. I'm sorry. Well, that was it. That was the state of play. As we said before, it was very good.
Yeah.
Well, it was fine.
It was
fine. Enjoyed it. It was fine enough. And hopefully we get another one and another one and another one, and they build on them, they get better, and they spread them out, and they do focus ones and whatever else, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Got a couple of news stories to kind of go over quickly on top of this stuff that I didn't want to push till next week because who knows what could happen next week, you know what I mean?
I know.
Who knows these days what could happen? Like, we could get another state of play, Ash. So
we could. Knows? They announced it like 2 days ago.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen? So, a couple hours, while we were sleeping, Daedalic Entertainment announced that they're doing a Lord of the Rings Gollum game. Now, it's less this I want to talk about, although we can kind of go over it briefly because we're already here. It's more the interesting tidbit that comes from their press release announcement that stood out that made this all the more interesting. So this comes from the IGN announcement for it. It says, Daedalic aim to release the Lord of the Rings Gollum in 2021. So a couple of years away, sure. On PC and, quote, all relevant console platforms at that time. Which is such a weird thing. I don't think I've ever seen that worded that way before. You know what I mean? Like, it's coming to PC and the whatever's out.
Well, they have to have the most general. Stadia screwed everything up because now it's not a console; it's a platform. So now they need to include platform in the wording of stuff, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it just screams they know to a degree that look, this is going to be a PS5.
You would assume next gen would be here by 2021. I think everybody's on board with that idea. So
I just feel like it's the most it's like the most half-assed. We may or may not know about potential Xbox PS5 successors type thing. And we can't say that, but what we can tell you,
they could have just said all available consoles, but
also exactly. Their quote is, all we can tell you is that our game will be available on all relevant console platforms at the time. All right, that's all I'm saying. All relevant console platforms at the time. That's where our game will be available. Is it going to be on PS4? Look, our game will be on all relevant console platforms at the time. Is it coming out to PS5? If the PS5's out by then, because it is a relevant console platform for the time, it will be out on the console. So yeah, I mean the game itself, if you want to quickly go over it as well, it says it's blah blah blah. As I said before, IGN article. It says Daily Entertainment has announced Lord of the Rings Gollum, a narrative-focused adventure game that will center on J.R.R. Tolkien's famous tricksy dual personality character. Set to release in 2021, the game will explore events that occur between Gollum's finding of the One Ring and the start of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Unlike recent Middle-earth games that draw inspiration from Peter Jackson's movie trilogy, Daedalus game will based purely on Tolkien's books. The project comes thanks to a new partnership between Daedalic and Middle-earth Enterprises, which I didn't realize was the name of the overarching head of the Middle-earth property or whatever, I guess. Middle-earth Enterprises. That's it's a weird name. The company that owns the rights to Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. Gollum will also just be the first game produced as part of a future deal, blah, 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 blah. Talking to Hollywood Reporter, Agent CEO and co-founder Carsten Fischelmann explained why Gollum was chosen as a protagonist. Quote, "You already have that big conflict in the character, two voices talking to you continuously, which means there's a good reason that there are decisions to make in the game, the Smeagol decisions or the Gollum decisions." Blah, blah, blah. They talk about how they was able to secure the partnership, etc., etc., etc. It says, expect a very different approach to interact with Middle-earth. Since this is a game about Gollum, if you imagine gameplay, stealth is the obvious choice as opposed to combat with sword. Blah, 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 blah. Are you down for a Lord of the Rings Gollum game?
Yeah, maybe. It seems an odd choice. A slow descent into insanity is what the game will be, I guess. It could be interesting. Depends on the story they're looking to tell. And the length. Are we going to end up as the Gollum at the start of the Lord of the Rings?
I guess that's
the
gist,
ultimate goal, yeah.
The ultimate goal is to end up a crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how enjoyable that's going to be.
Probably not very, no. I just saw the tagline for this IGN article, by the way, that made me laugh. Middle-earth, Shadow of Hobbitses. I pay that one. Who wrote this? Matt Purslayer. I pay that. And you know what? Your quote may be coming to all relevant console platforms at the time
of 2020.
I mean, I'll have to wait. It's in 2021. I have to see more on the game itself. I do find it interesting that they are talking about it so far out with a random announcement. I suppose it must come down to some sort of like
rights thing.
Like they wouldn't be able to hide it, I guess. You know, like they have to, like
they've got like some financial meeting or something.
Something like that,
big
I guess.
Financial deal, yeah.
Something along those lines, I guess, is what is happening and why they just had to randomly come out and talk about it. It also the IGN article also pointed out that 2021 is when the Middle-earth Amazon Lord of the Rings TV series will be starting as well. So 2021 is time. I
Not
would
really.
guess that. Yeah, and
seeing as it's set centuries before this.
Yeah, it's not a time, but maybe they're trying to make sure that 2021 just sees a lot of, like, if they've got the TV series coming in, maybe they're just like, let's try and make sure we kind of smash a lot of Lord of the Rings relevant, Middle-earth relevant content out in the same year and see if we can get some hits out, I suppose. Yeah, is what the plan is. Amazon's Lord of the Rings television series, of course, if you're not aware, will be coming to all relevant streaming platforms at the time. I don't know if it's other people might be like that. Dylan, stop saying the quote. It's not actually that funny. Look, I'm moving on, right? We've got one more story quickly to go over, and I'm moving on, but I just want everyone to know it's a very funny quote, and I just I can't get over it. I just want it on a bumper sticker.
We'll make it to shut up.
I'd wear that t-shirt. Coming to all relevant console platforms at the time. It's such a good quote. It's fucking hilarious. All right, so the last thing I quickly wanted to go over was the GDC Awards, Game Developer Conference Awards happened last week. I watched the show. It was a good show. Don't really need to talk about the full show. Just wanted to cover that PlayStation relevant stuff, which was that God of War won Game of the Year overall at the conference, which was, well, it was, honestly. Especially if you're watching the show.
Especially if they've won every other game award possible.
But they didn't win anything in the show up until that point. Right? That's why it kind of stood out, because all the awards for best whatever stuff, the person who won the most awards throughout the night, from what I could gather, was I can't remember his name now. The dude that created Papers, Please and that new one that I still haven't played yet, the boat one.
Return of Obra Dinn.
Return of Obra Dinn. That dude won the most awards from what I gather. He was up there like 3 or 4 times, I think. So throughout the night, and Return of Obra Dinn was nominated for best game as well. So, and then it was like, oh, God of War. And I was like, okay, fine. Yeah, I understand. And yeah, it has won, of course, Game of the Year at most outlets last year, and then everywhere else, and DICE awards and whatever the hell DICE stuff that's all happening. But this was kind of the last one, I guess, and it was an interesting one to point out because it's an award given to you by your peers, I guess. Like it's a celebration of you from a room of solely all other like developers and stuff. So I thought it was a good one. Corey got up on stage there with there was a lot of people there at Santa Monica team and stuff, and was like, yeah, it was good to see him win. Good to see God of War win again. The other thing was that Amy Hennig, which, although not solely a PlayStation person, of course has heaps of PlayStation history at this point. She won a Lifetime Achievement Award for her career in games, and she gave a good speech up on stage, a funny speech. She was introduced by Mark Cerny as well, gave her his, talked about her for 5-10 minutes or whatever it was before introducing her and bringing her up on stage. So that was good to see, and she thanked Mark for being a friend to her and stuff throughout the years. So that was all nice, and there was one funny part. I can't remember exactly what she said and stuff, but she was like, a Lifetime Achievement Award. Hopefully I'm 50, whatever she said, and hopefully I've still got time to make a few more games, and it's not all over yet. I plan to make a few more, hopefully. She also made a funny joke at some point during it where she was like, oh, thank you, this studio, I worked at this studio. And she's like, and Visceral Games, pour one out, RIP. So that was quite funny to see. And the show overall was full of a lot of inside jokes.
This is the one hosted by Tim Schafer, or was that?
Yeah, Tim Schafer hosted, and he went ham on jokes about all sorts of things and poke fun. I mean, everything. He even took a shot at THQ Nordic, and like that was recent. So like it was all going to do THQ Nordic. Fuck, everyone went off because he said fuck white nationalists and something, and that was apparently a thing that was worth arguing about online for some reason. There was another part where he's like, oh, it seems to be running slow here. We seem to be running really slow on stage. Does anyone else see frame rate pickups or something along those lines? And he like goes over and there's these 3 like blue puddles like of cellophane stuff on the ground. He walks over, he like picks them all up. He's like, oh, thank God. Now that we've got rid of these puddles, everything seems to be running a lot smoother. So there was a lot of inside jokes that I kind of appreciated. Overall, it was a good show. The only other thing that's not like PlayStation centric, but was worth pointing out, that Beat Saber won both the audience award as well as the best VR game for the year. So not solely PSVR, of course, but they did win for all that stuff. So that was good. Okay, and that's it for all the new stuff. I got one hashtag every trophy counts trophy list I'd like to go over. So the trophy list for Days Gone leaked. Someone posted on Reddit. By posted, I don't mean just like made up. They took screenshots and of their PlayStation and posted. I presume it's someone within the industry to some degree leaking this stuff. Looking through their account, this is apparently a thing they do somewhat leak trophy lists, which turned out to be true somehow. And everyone in the comments is like, "Can you give us a trophy list for this? Can you give us a trophy list for this? Can you give us a trophy list for this?" I'm like, okay. But PowerPix posted up on his website. So you've got the first 12 trophies are all secret trophies that are story related stuff. So of course, stay away from those unless you want story spoilers. So that's all very simple. Then you've got a bunch of stuff for completing the ambush camp hunter storyline, complete the infestation, complete the marauder camp, blah, 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 blah. They also, of course, scream completing X amount of side story stuff to completion and then complete those things. And then it's got complete the World's End storyline. I'm like, that sounds scary. That sounds like a Simon Pegg movie, but I believe that's still side mission stuff. Then you've got random things that none of them seem too hard though, like just miscellaneous type stuff. So it's like accumulate 10 minutes of drifting while on your bike, kill a breaker, reach or rage with a knife, get 100 stealth kills. There's one down here a little bit further. It's like collect 989 freaker ears. That's right, 989 freaker ears. Loot 541 items from corpses, upgrade your bike, use nitro and drift at the same time for your bike for 5 seconds, like these sorts of miscellaneous type things. Kill an enemy with every type of crossbow bow. Nothing hard, just shit you gotta do, I suppose. And then there's a couple collectible ones. First collectible 50% of collectibles, 75% of collectibles, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of upgrade stuff for upgrading health, stamina, blah, 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 blah. Spending a bunch of credits on encampments because you can upgrade encampments in the game, of course. And then there's basically collectibles and upgrade stuff for the rest of it, which is just unlock your skills, unlock 30 skills, unlock 45 skills, craft 50 items, and a couple of random things. But overall, I'd say it looks like a very straightforward trophy list. Pretty easy, no difficulty related things, nothing that stands out to be too hard to pull off from. And of course, not having played the game, but I'm like, kill one of every enemy with crossbow bolt. That doesn't seem hard. Get 989 ears. That sounds like a lot, but you could probably do it without even trying to a degree, I guess, depending if you're like looting them and stuff like that. So it seems like a pretty easy platinum is what I'd rate it at this stage. Having not played the game, I would say Days Gone is an easy platinum that will require probably a decent, 50 to 100 hours, somewhere around there or whatever, to complete all your collectibles and side missions and stuff. But yeah, on board. Easy platinum, Days Gone. It's out soon, in case you didn't know. PlayStation's been telling you it's a game that exists and it's coming to all relevant platforms. No, it's only coming to PS4. Okay, but it's a relevant platform.
Only all relevant PlayStation platforms.
All relevant PlayStation platforms, that's right. Thank you for joining us on Platinum Explosion this week. You can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, Vivaladil. Where can people follow you, Ash?
You can follow me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOB, LEY. It's a thing.
You can follow this show, Platinum Explosion, on Twitter at Plat Podcast. Don't forget you can rate the show on Apple Podcasts if you can. And if you can't, go shout it into people's ears. Just fucking tell them, all right, this is a show that exists. You can head on over Discord to chat to people, explosionnetwork.com/Discord. It's the only way you can talk to Nick these days. This is, of course, a product of the Explosion Network, of which you can find many more shows, articles, news, reviews, and fancy things and shiny trophies at explosionnetwork.com. And don't forget to follow Explosion Network on Twitter as well, at Explosion Pod. Until next week, I hope this podcast came to you on all relevant platforms at the time of release, which is today. Bye.
Hopefully. Catch up on the latest TV, online media, and movie news from the biggest comic book films and YouTube crazes to our local cinema scene. And then hear what we've been watching before asking the age-old question, what do you want to watch? Available on all podcast services every second Friday. Just search your podcast app for What Do You Want to Watch and subscribe for free now. And keep watching stuff, I guess.